Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Parent Academy. My name is Rob Furman. I'm here with my esteemed colleague and very close friend, Kevin Monahan. Today, we want to talk about tough love. And there was a book written in the 80s, and it dealt with drug abuse and things of that nature. But if you get down to the core of what tough love is, it really is something that parents can use and should use all the time. And one thing we get a lot in terms of questions in school is discipline. What do we do in terms of helping to discipline children? And parents ask us for advice in terms of disciplining kids at home. One of the hardest things to do is discipline your child because it breaks your heart. You don't want to ever put your child in an uncomfortable situation. And that's why it's called tough love. I'm going to punish you because I love you, and you need to learn right from wrong. Kids are not born onto this world knowing right from wrong. They have to be taught those things. And in order for those things to be taught, you have to use certain consequences. And yes, you may have to punish your child, put them in a room for an extra hour or whatever the case may be, and then you go in your room and just cry your eyes out. But you have to do that for your child to teach them right from wrong. And that's called tough love. Kevin, how about some experiences that you're in?
Now, I know that there are various behaviors that, we can look at. Like, Rob, you mentioned about, like, some severe behaviors, like when we're talking about, like, drug abuse or really, like, self-destructive, harmful behaviors. But a lot of times, like, what my dealings with, even in my family, has maybe been addressing the behavior of, like, a lack of motivation or apathy, where, I had to institute, tough love, by setting certain limitations, but the limitations that I set, I have to enforce those. So anytime that a parent is setting up any type of expects certain behavior to occur, they better be willing to enforce that. And sometimes our children will become what we allow them to become. For example, enabling your child. Sometimes not acting on a behavior, if you set a limit and you permit something to happen, that kind of tells your kid, hey, it's okay, I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to keep pushing those limits. So I think the very first thing we need to do in tough love, and it's the hardest thing, is enabling your child. Because I think that we all want our kids to succeed. We want them to be successful in everything that they do. And sometimes it is so hard just to say, hey, you need to knock that off right now, all right? But you do it in love, okay?
Absolutely, and it's especially when you do give a consequence, if you don't follow through with that consequence, immediately the kids realize that anything you say really doesn't matter. You could say, if you do this wrong, you're going to end up being put in your room for a month. Well, you're probably not going to do it for a month. They know it. And then when you don't do it for a month, you now have become pretty much somebody who they're not going to believe what you say. So if you give a consequence and you even threaten a consequence, it has to be realistic. It has to be achievable, and you have to follow through. The first time you don't follow through, anything else you say after that, it's going to go right over the head because they just don't believe you. You've already proven to them that you're going to say something, but you don't really mean it. How about some experience with that?
Can I interject something, Rob? I think consistency, too. Don't make up rules as you go along. I mean, your child needs to know what the limitations are ahead of time. And at times, we have this movable scale, or these movable limits. And I think that sends the wrong message sometimes. If it's okay to occur here, why isn't it okay here? So whatever we do, we have to be the model as far as setting that expectation and sticking to it.
Absolutely. And most importantly, and I think a lot of people have lost this along the way over the course of several years of parenting, is you're not that child's friend. You're the child's parent. So you have to be their parent first. Yes, you should love each other far more than friends love each other, but you're not there to hang out with them. You're not there to be their pal. Your job is to make them better than you were as a child. Your job is to parent them, not to necessarily befriend them. They have friends. They have hopefully lots of friends. They don't need a friend probably 3 times their age. What they need is a parent. And a parent has to give their child tough love. I love you, and that's why I'm going to consequence you, because I need you to learn right from wrong. And wrong is never an excusable reason for doing something. You will just not be that type of person. You have to be firm. You have to not let them play you. And what you say, you have to mean. That's called parenting. That's not being a friend, that's being a parent, somebody who's going to make their child better through this experience. Kevin, why don't you wrap it up for us?
I like what you said, Rob. I mean, you really do have to stay strong. If you set a consequence, though it may be breaking your heart inside, to take something away or to have to discipline in some way, you have to be consistent. You need to stay strong in your beliefs. Remember, the whole purpose of tough love is you are grooming your child for later in life, because they have to learn how to be responsible and make good choices for themselves, because one day they're going to be out from under your roof. And then you have to know that you have raised them and have done everything that you possibly can so that they can be successful in their life, so that they can be safe in the world around them. And I think that's, with tough love, it says it all. We need to be strong, but we need to do everything in love. And we should never, ever, ever discipline out of emotion, because that totally defeats the whole purpose of tough love.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself, buddy. Well, thank you very much, everybody. This is Kevin Monahan, and I'm Rob Furman for the Parent Academy. Don't forget, subscribe below, and also leave us any comments that you may have about this or any of our other shows. And on top of that, if you have any topics that you would like us to discuss, please feel free to send those to us as well. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great evening.
Take care, guys.